Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday. And now we will get right to work. I don't know where everybody else is, but I guess there will someday be other people here. There used to be Fridays were check ins with everybody, but now nobody shows up anymore. So there's just me and, hey, come here, come here, come here, come here. I'll scratch you. Come here. Come here. There we go. That's what I was looking for. Me and the Black Cat of Doom. What he wanted was scritches in the first place, so I'm going to give him scritches. Right? Good cat. He thinks he wants this every morning, and then he's like, well, maybe I don't want this. Then he gets up here and he's like, oh, I do kind of want it. There we go. A boop. Boop. He is a weird little cat, all right. All right, getting to work. Weird. All right, we were here, but I'm kind of good now. I think we've gotten to the point that I was after in the first place, which was about here-ish. Really the only thing we're missing is this guy. Kind of here. Kind of need to see what that NPV looks like with scale. It's inside a 20 meter by 40 meter box. No, but a 10 meter by 40 or 20 meter box. These are 10 meters. Yeah, see, we can already see we're going to need to thicken these lines quite seriously in order to have these guys out of play. And there's only 4 ships here, so we're good. If we're below this, I feel like any ships at this point in time, I just trace as if they were like part of the background. Because if we're at the point where a destroyer is this big, then I'm just going to trace it so you can just the outline. We don't have to worry about it in a bigger place, like the Polaris scale stuff. No reason to put a Polaris scale starship in there. We do need to, at some point in time, go in and fix the Polaris because the Polaris doesn't have maps. But we don't need the Polaris for anything. We've already drawn her once, so we don't need to put her in for any reason for this at all. So I'm not going to worry about the Polaris. All right. I'll save this as scales just so I don't ever have to, if I ever have to worry about it again. Somewhere in here is human, but he's a dot at this point in time with this scale. All right, I had something else I was going to work on here, and I can't remember what it was. I'm sure it was critical. Let's check also, now that we've got these DAS files, let's check to see if we have the actual set. Why would the captain's uniform be needed? I mean, it's okay, we certainly can, but this is what we need to do, is find all of the pieces. Alright, we have my countertop 1A. Find the general items. General items. There you go. 1A. North-south wall. Is that in here? Let's see. These are all transfer tubes. No, they're just up one. Trees. In here? No. No. I feel like this is one we're going to just have to skip. We can skip those, we can skip those, and then we're going to reload Chang anyway. But having a person fail is always sucky. Here's the problem. We can't not... Oh, crying out loud. It's going to do this for everyone. Okay, space cut. We can find space cut. That's the problem, is if I take and say skip all of it, it will skip every texture from now on, and I don't know how many of them have loaded, because it just seems to load in the order of which it's in the setup file, which could be half of the set, then Chang, then more of the set, then Jen, then more of the set. So if you, in the middle of Chang, say skip, it's just going to skip everything else, and then we have to manually load all the rest, which is part of the problem. So I'm going to, it's not here, so we're going to have to go look for it. So we're going to go looking for it. We do have memories of Earth, by the way. Some other things we can print. I don't have anything on that one. I'm not finding the cup, so maybe I'll just skip it. And we'll just reload. See, now it's looking for Jen. We're going to have to reload the characters when we know it. Oh, this is so miserable. I'm so sorry, guys. You know what? Desktop. At least you don't have to hear it do this every time. All right. There we go. Both characters are here, but missing maps. That's not a problem. We can fix that. All right. So surfaces for Jen. First things first. Default templates, template number 1. Ugh. Without knowing what these used to be, that's really rough. I'm just saying. And if I thought I could get away with just dumping the character, browse. We'll just have to try it out, guys. Here we go. Into Blatrix Rising we go. Into 3D sets, props, yada, yada, yada. Maquettes, right? Textures, characters. What we don't have is a folder, and we'll call this one again from red to right. Right. And we'll take Chang Li and we'll say, not her face. Whose face was it? Whose face did I borrow? I think it was Alex's face. We also don't need to fix the dress, which is wearing a dress. She's wearing her boot. Should be inspected. So what we'll do is, let's go in here real quick. So open. Go over here. So I like to see things better up on this monitor anyway. Right here it is. Blatrix Rising. 3D sets, maquettes. We'll also open just so I can get this color. feel like we're missing something. Right, so let's take a look here. I like how the colors are different here. That's nice to, you know. All right. No, not this morning. Come on, guys. Something. I don't think. Yeah, it's not this. It's the tablet. I wanted the wrong thing. No, guys, I think I've borked my camera. Trying to. I got my tablet back, but I borked my camera. There we go. I unborked my camera. So I put the USB connections for the two things that usually bork right here. Something's wrong with somebody's isome. I don't know what an isome is either. There's something my kid used to do all the time. He would say something, and he would say something wrong, and I would say, "What was that?" You know, like he would say, "Isome," and I'd say, "Isome," and he'd go, "I don't know what isome is either." It was very cute. Uh-oh. Waiting. Oh. Yeah, it's just a bucket. That's what it should be. Guess I don't need this one either. This stripe down here could just be silver stripe. I feel like no matter what, even the dress uniforms need to be sealable. They're dress, but they're service dress, not mess dress. Mess dress, on the other hand, are uniforms that are worn at functions where either you know the pressure is going to be stable the entire time, pretty sure that everything's fine, or you're okay with your brass getting killed. One of the two. Anything could happen. Which actually might be the sardonic way. They handle it. Good morning, Brent. Your icon has changed. Oh yeah. That makes sense. Makes sense. I should be. Well, no, my icon is already in lower decks mode. I don't need to put it in lower decks mode. All right. How do we look here? It's not bad. work here, but
it was fun.
As usual, some of the funniest jokes are the ones that were inside jokes. I love some of those hysterical inside jokes. But then they had some outside jokes that were pretty funny too. I love the fact that Boimler worries about whether they'll find out what his true hair color is. That just cracks me up. I'm like, that's the stupidest thing, but something that I think someone who is vain like Boimler would make. That's something he'd do. Be like, eh. Right? He just never got it. They were all like hitting on him, and he's like, I don't get it. Just fix this, dude. Oh man, he was so funny. Mike McMahon was saying that he believes that in the future, in the Star Trek universe, everybody is somewhat like not pansexual per se, but like multi-sexual, so that you sort of experiment wherever you experiment, and that's just where you line up. And some people end up totally heterosexual, and some people end up totally gay or whatever, and it's just the way it goes. But not everybody knows right off the bat, and so Boimler may not know where he is. That's either way, it cracks me up. Good morning, Colton. You are free to join me if you wish to. There is a good chance that I will have all of my comics printed by Tuesday. There's a really good chance. I can tell you are here. Behold your here-ness. Congrats on the computer thingy. Not you. Yeah, along with my phasers, I will be getting my comics on Tuesday. So Colton, you know Avanti printers, yeah? Because I took my comics down to Avanti. Bob, whatever his name is, who is a lovely individual, because he said he worked with Red Team Go, and he worked with Squidworks, and I said, yay! And I said, I was part of Red Team Go. So, when you do your build by yourself and you get a heartbeat, that is so cool. It's like the thing. Yep, Bob. Bob was a cool dude. Is a cool dude. He thinks he can have even with all of the stuff going through for Collins Comic-Con. Okay, so he didn't register. Even for all the things that he's doing for Fort Collins, he thinks he can get mine through and printed and in time for NDK, which would be awesome. I told him it wasn't urgent. I just want bragging rights. And because I'm going to meet a lot of people at NDK, but I'm not tabling or anything like that. So, but a lot of people are saying, you know, I want to have a copy of your comic. I'll see you at NDK. And I'm like, okay. I may or may not have a copy at NDK, but okay. You know, right? I mean, it's totally bragging rights. That's all I'm really after here, because totally that's the thing, right? Like, I just want to say I did it. Look, I finished my comic. I'm so excited. I did the thing. I did the thing. I joined all the other people who did the thing. You know. Yeah, right? I mean, like, that's totally the idea, is like, it'll just be there, and then if somebody wants a copy, yay. I'm selling it for $200. Here's a copy. Starting with you, Colton. Pay $200. Whether you like it or not. Pepper and I were talking about properly pricing it. And so I'm like sitting there going, I'm going to sell it for $5. And Pepper's like, no. And Brent was like, no. They're both like, no, stop. I'm like, what? They're like, don't let your imposter syndrome eat you. Like, seems wrong to sell it for more than that. Brent, I'll give you a discount, $1.99. I love you. Sold. No. Oh man, I'm having way too much fun at this. Oh man. So anyway, Colton, if your camera's up, you can join me. You don't gotta, but you may not have camera operating yet, and that's totally cool. But I figured you can join me. We could talk. While I finish fixing maquette pieces. We have not done the dress uniform because it wasn't needed until right now, when Jen, of course, is wearing a dress. So now we gotta fix the dress uniform. Yeah, I've been down this road. You know what you can do? Is practice putting up your camera and seeing if it works by coming onto the show. Oh, I'm just teasing you. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Might as well try it. What's the worst that can happen? You'll have smoke coming out of everything. I mean, you know, that's the thing. However, we now have a tier 3 dude on our show, so that's a cool thing. I mean, you know, not much we could do from Kansas, but still tier 3. Can't knock that. Making a lot more money. No smoke. Guy is lonely. You know what? It's Friday, and we really haven't had the entire crew here on Friday since like March. And we're going into fall. And I'm starting to wonder if people have forgotten that this is an accountability program. We're supposed to be keeping people accountable. So it's like, you guys know that we're supposed to be keeping you all accountable, right? We all know that, right? Right? You haven't forgotten. So I promised I'd go dancing tonight. I'm not sure how I feel about that. I'm not sure I'm a dancing person, but you know, I'm willing to do stuff. It sounds like sort of fun. I dig this ball. So, going out dancing tonight downtown, Colton. You might see me. Or you might be, you know, an adult and actually do the adulting thing and be like a human and a normal person. I was going to go watch The Boys, but then, hey, looks like we got video. Hang on, we got Colton. Looks like Colton's up.
Do we have mic?
We have microphone.
Oh, cool. We got everything.
That's good. There you go. Looks like it worked.
Yeah, all right. That's good. That's
like-
reassuring.
It's a plus. Smoke coming out anywhere? Any smoke?
No, not yet. I was like, no, so like yesterday after work, I had to run back to Micro Center again because I needed a port. So, okay. Where do I start? So Monday was my day off. Yeah, Monday was my day off. And I figured that since school starts next week, now's a good time to get my computer finally up and running.
Right. Makes sense.
And like just upgrade it. I need to overhaul it anyways. I'm getting ready to use ZBrush and all that stuff for this next semester. Like I need to be ready to overclock it.
ZBrush. Oh God.
I'm excited. I am so
It's gonna
excited.
be fun. It's gonna be so much fun. But yeah, it's gonna be one of those. Oh God, what did I get myself into?
Yeah, because it's downfall of this semester is I decided to take 2 very heavy art classes. One is ZBrush, and the other one is portrait painting.
Ooh.
Digital portrait painting. So, and both of them I have heard are very heavy on the art side, which I'm fine with that part.
I love that.
I just-
that part makes
Yeah,
me actually want to go back to school.
Yeah, I'm excited. So but then I sat there and I thought about it. I looked at their minimum requirements, and my minimum requirements for the system was literally my computer.
Right.
And I was like, oh. And then I remember looking back at that when I started Maya, which was 2 semesters ago. And my system was still considered the minimum requirements then. And I was like, we're getting close enough now because we just went over a whole year. I was like, and then I heard the 40 series graphics cards are coming out. I'm like, my system's probably going to be obsolete by the end of the year.
Yeah.
So I did what I was supposed to do.
You're an adult.
Got that second job.
You did the adulting thing.
I had that second job as a bartender for the summer and took all that money and dropped it on a brand new computer.
There you go.
Plus other things, but mainly it was
but
the beginning of the first few months was like just catching up on bills, getting a few things paid off. I'm like, yeah, okay, cool, I feel better. And then literally last Sunday was technically my last day working there. I told them that you guys can call me if you need help, and then I can let you yes or no. Like if they have like, let's say the hotel's at 100%, they're gonna need someone there. I'm like, you can call me when you know that, and then I can let you know yes or no if I'm actually available to just come in and help out very quick.
Yeah.
But past that, I was like, I'm gonna be starting school, which means all my free time's gone, and I can't even do 2 jobs. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So I took all that last little bit of money and dropped it on this computer, which I had to go to
your machine.
Yeah, I had to go. I went the whole RGB route a little bit. It was cool.
Mine too. Mine's so super RGB as well. I mean, really, it's actually just cool, and why not? You know what I mean?
Right. But I like it. I was like, at first, it's like, I really don't care that. I was like, I really don't care that much about RGB. And then I was like, you know what? Yeah, you can. I was like, I really don't care. And then now that I actually kind of got it, I'm like, it's like a little nightlight in my room. I love it.
It really is. That's the thing. I mean, well, and I had my box was originally under the desk here.
Yeah.
And when I was working on this, and I'm like, I keep having to unplug things and plug things back in. So I kept having to go under the desk here and do that. And it's hurting my back.
Yeah.
Which I'm already having problems with. So I'm like, so I moved it up here onto the desk, and I'm like, actually, kind of glad I did that, because now I've got this pretty like color wheel thing going on over here with all my fans and everything, because they're all colorful. Everybody keeps going, you're a gamer then. And I'm like, why is it only gamers get to do RGB? Why is it like normal people are not expected to do that? That's not what normal people do.
I know I game too. I get it.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, it's like apparently it's like you're not supposed
to. It's a total thing, which is fine. I get it.
I mean,
I just was like, that's
game
cool.
as well. I mean, there's no question. I certainly game, but
like I like the minimal RGB. Not like the whole system has to glow, but like the very minimalistic stuff that I have here. I'm like, it's just minimal. It's not every piece in here is gonna like you could see me from space kind of thing.
Right. Yeah, I get that.
But yeah, so what happened was I had to go make 2 whole trips to Micro Center. My first one was to get the parts I actually needed. Then the second one was because I forgot that I thought my old system was running on DDR4s. It was only running on DDR3s. So I didn't buy DDR4.
Right.
That's how my second trip happened. And when I left for the second trip, so first trip was motherboard, processor, and cooling fan. Because I had to get a different cooling fan because of the size, because of the graphics card. I was like, all right, fine.
Fine. Yeah.
I don't want to spend more money, but fine. Bought all 3 of those. That was about $800. Went home, started putting everything together, got my computer off the desk. I'm in my little space here in my room, which not that big of a space.
Right.
Putting everything all together. Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah.
And I didn't have the right DDR memory stick, so I ran back to Micro Center. Got my DDR4, and when I walked past the graphics card on the way out, I saw the sticker pricing, and I was like, wait. Those dropped at like $400 more than what they were last time I looked. And then I even asked the guy, I was like, is that sticker price correct? He's like, yep, yes they are. And I was like, well, I guess I'll be taking this 3070 as well.
Yeah. I'm still running the 10 series, I believe.
I have a 1080. My old one was a 1080.
No, I'm not running a 10 series. I am running
Are you too?
GTX, but
What are you running?
I'm running a GTX. I'm looking for it. It says it right here on here. It doesn't actually say it on here. Fine. But it does have water cooling, so it's not a small card.
Nice.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
I'll look it up here in a sec. I need to stand up anyway.
But yeah, no, I got the 3070 series because it was like only $700.
Yeah, that's not bad.
And I remember when I was looking at it like 2 years, not even 2020, 2021. I was trying to like get a new card, and they were all running like $1,500 to like $2,000. It's like, hell no, I'm not paying that much for a GPU.
Yeah, until you realize what you have to do with the GPU running.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm not gonna. Yeah, they did, Brett. That's why I bought one. So I walked out the door with just under $2,000 for my computer. And then last night I had to run back in to there because PVI ports don't actually exist anymore. So I had to go get an adapter. Yeah, I remember the crypto and all that stuff really kind of messed up with the GPU pricing and all that. But like, that's like, I get it.
So crypto's
My
going
teacher's a
down,
crypto
and that's
person.
helping our prices. Is that what's happening?
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, that sounds fun.
Kind of. It's a yes and no. Like, it is helping our pricing a little bit because now that crypto is going down, not that many people are just jumping in it, you know. And people with money aren't just like buying a whole bunch of graphics cards to go data mining.
Yeah, I'm running a 1660 Ti. That's it.
1660.
So I'm still quite a ways behind 1660. So you're at the 3000 series, and I'm still running on the 1000 series.
I made that jump.
Yeah.
I made the jump just because it was there and I had the money because of how much money I did make.
No. There's nothing wrong with no. Don't think that I'm complaining about you doing it. I'm complaining that maybe I should be doing this pretty soon too. If the price is decent, like it sounds like it is, I probably should make that jump as well.
I mean, hey, start putting the money away and
yeah, I mean that's my thought.
$100 here, $100 there, and by the time the 4000 series comes out, the 3000 series will probably be way cheaper and be perfect to just snatch up.
That's what I'm thinking as well.
Not need, but should. Thank you, Ray. Verification.
Here's the thing: the way this works with my PC is, how much money do I make off of comics? Because if I'm making a reasonable amount of money doing the comics, doing the show in the morning, yada yada yada, then my wife is much more inclined to say, no. This is becoming a thing that we're using more often, and we are now finally at a point where financially our family is stable between all of our incomes. So
that's awesome. Congrats.
We've been struggling with being right here. The money is doing this, and this is the line we need to live. And the money just kept doing this number, just right at the line.
One bad investment, we tank.
Yeah. So,
one bad purchase, and we're just like, well, next
right, exactly. One mistake, and we were toast. So we've been sitting
I know that
line for a very, very long time, and now finally we are stable. And so now it becomes one of those. All the money still goes towards, bills and things like that. However, we now have some extra money sometimes. So when we do, the result is that. Oh yeah.
True. I was looking at the 3080, but it's like $300 more, and I technically have 30 days to make that swap when I'm ready.
Yep.
Yay, Micro Center. I was like, hey, you know what? I like the 3070, but I want to upgrade to 3080. I've already paid for this one. Let's just swap it out.
Yeah.
I'll pay a little bit extra.
Yeah, I mean, and that's my thought is I wouldn't mind having a little bit more horsepower on the graphics side.
Yeah.
Right now, it plays No Man's Sky just fine at full graphics set. So, and that's the game I play. You know what I mean? Like, I don't.
No, Brent, the reason why I was looking at the 3080 and why I'm actually really contemplating it right now is because of the memory in it. Because I could actually render from my GPU and not my CPU, and it actually worked. It renders way faster because it's not doing all the other processing stuff at the same time.
I think the next big thing I'm going to do is probably reinstate my 70 ohm cable in the house.
Your what?
There's 70 ohm cable that is running from the bottom of the house up here. If I and it actually is coming through the wall down here, but the person who lived here before just clipped it and snipped it, so there's just a cord sticking out with no
Terrible
connector.
person.
So I have to see if my buddy knows how to recrimp 70 ohm. But when he does, then I can put the modem right here on the wall, which I thought about doing, or right under this desk. If
So you
it's
can
right under
hardline
the desk, then the wireless would still cover the whole house because it'd be still centrally located. But then I can run a Cat 5 directly into my modem.
Ooh.
From the box here. I just run a Cat 5 down, and that is, so the 3090 Ti is designed, that's what it's saying, designed to do.
I know, but that pricing.
that's a lot of horses. That is.
I just didn't want to go over $1,000. That's pretty much where I was. I was like, I don't want to do anything over $1,000. Like, I was like, I still want to keep a little bit of money just in case. That's why I was like, the 3070 will be a good start just to get me out of the. I had the 1080, so I'll just upgrade and get out of it.
Right.
But now I'll just definitely the 3090 I would love to get because of that too. But well, I'll work around that. I'm just happy my computer's actually running properly again.
Right. Not going to argue with that.
Oh yeah, no, thank you, Brent. Totally appreciate it. Yeah, no, mine was I couldn't multitask anymore with my old computer. Like my motherboard was finally going out, and I found that out also because I realized that the audio that comes out of the motherboard like wasn't as clear anymore, and also like I had to have my volume on max all the time just to hear shit. So it's like it must be my motherboard.
Oh yeah, that's when you know your motherboard's dying.
So I just decided to do all of it all at once since I had the money. I was like, you know what? Let's just upgrade everything. It's all brand new. Because you're IT, Brent. Did you go so you went the hardware side, not the coding side, right? Or did you go both? My friend in IT says usually at a certain point in your career you have to pick either hardware or
software.
the code side. Software. You do the hardware side.
Yeah,
okay.
Hardware.
Hardware is cool though. I like hardware. I think I would get more into hardware than software, but that's because I'm not that good at coding.
Yeah, coding and I don't get along very well either.
All those ones and zeros really confuse me. But the hardware side, I would definitely get more into that side. But it is fun. I don't know, like server work. Yeah. Oh yeah, that makes sense. You built your own server. So. But yeah, no, yeah. So like when I first booted it, nothing like half of it was working. I was like, I don't know what the fuck I just did. Since it was like my first build without anybody telling me what to do or what I'm doing wrong.
I was going to tell you what to do, but not what you're doing wrong, because telling what to do is much more fun.
But yeah, so I had my friend on the other line, like had him on Discord after that. I was like, all right, start tell me what's going on. He's like, do this, this, and this. I'm like, I did all that. I don't know what you're talking about. And we went on for like 3 hours, and he's like, you know what? I'm going to take a night. I'm just going to go to bed, and I'll wake up and deal with this tomorrow. Because my brain's fried now from sitting in this really cramped room, like putting this together, and then also trying to figure out why it's not working.
Right.
Went to bed, woke up. Then I moved everything into my friend's office because they have more space. And I was like, maybe if I just have bigger space, I can actually kind of like work around my computer, move it around more, figure out why it's not working. and found out it was like one small cable that I totally forgot was like, it was like tucked up in the corner that I tucked up there, so it was out of the way. That wasn't attached to the motherboard is why everything didn't work.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind giving my PC to the guys that are at there's like a little PC company or a PC place down here.
Yeah.
And have them just run the damn cables, because I've got
do some cable management.
Yeah, I mean, like my cable management is horrible inside there because I keep having to go back and forth through this metal wall, and it's horrible. And they're not long enough, and some of them are, and so I've got like I've got my my SSD is just sitting inside there on a little shelf because there's not enough space to get it to flatten out enough to put the bolts in. It's fine as long as nobody knocks my PC over, but it's still like, it's horrible cable management. It's like terrible cable management. It would be,
I bought the last time I did my computer build, which was 2017.
Yeah.
16, 17, something like that.
Yeah.
It was around that time. It was when I was living in Glendale. I went and bought the tower that had both doors on both sides. So I can get into where the parts were, and then on the back side, I could actually get to where the cables were.
Yeah.
Which actually made it a lot easier. Yeah, I was gonna say that made it a lot easier, but also like, I'm also kind of looking at trying to figure out if I should not downgrade, but like, because I got the gaming tower rigs, like the old school gaming tower rigs, the big boxes. And I kind of want to like get one of the smaller ones, just because it would be like kind of more out of the way, especially since I put it on my desk. You know. Yeah. Yes, Brent. By the way, the 6-pin connector, that's CPU power. Yeah, that is the one I did tuck away up in the top corner, and I totally forgot about it until I got it on the ground and moved it around. I got the. Please hold. The Asus H670 Pro Wi-Fi D4 Turf Gaming. I know it says Tough Gaming, but I like it.
You wanna come up here and have a discussion with us?
Yes.
Discussion with us? A lot of talk over there. I can't find the morph that I just made.
But now I realize how much stuff I did. I could have actually probably switched over to AMD, and I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
Right.
I've noticed in the design world, no one really says AMD or Intel. Like, no, they all work the same. It doesn't matter. Oh, thanks for letting me know that. I just like the look of the smaller kits just because it kind of like push them out. But like, yeah, no, I like my case. I just thought it'd be cooler to have a smaller case.
No, yeah.
But yeah, it's a cool little motherboard. I like it. It has Wi-Fi. I haven't used it yet though. I like running cables.
Mm-hmm.
I like having a hard line because I get a better connection.
That's what I need to do is, I mean, we have interference from somebody around here. It's part of the reason why all of a sudden about like 10:30 or whatever, I suddenly drop off. Is I think there's signal interference somewhere.
Right.
So that's what I was saying.
Someone's logging on to something.
If I bring the router up here, it'll still be centrally located in the house because it would be just above the living room, which is where I am. But I'd also be able to then just run a Cat 5 from the router straight into the machine here, and it will be just straight. You know, I don't know if I can. I don't know. But right now,
That's exactly what everybody else tells me, Britt. That's why I was like, I really don't care. Like my friend, it's my friends that are gamers and all that stuff and streamers. Like, you should go AMD, blah blah. I'm like, but I'm not a hardcore gamer. I'm a casual gamer. I'm a filthy.
Yeah,
casual.
that's the thing is I'm a casual gamer.
Like, I enjoy gaming, but I do not need to be number one. That's the problem. Like, I don't need to be up here. I'm cool being right here. Like, I like to have a challenge. I like to be competitive a little bit, but like, once you start getting into like where performance really matters, I really don't care. That's when I stop caring.
Yeah, I mean, I could see it but I mean, like I said, so long as everything still looks pretty. I've been thinking about starting VR relatively soon because VR seems like a thing. Yeah,
VR would be fun.
right? Because like painting in VR and sculpting might be cool. However, I still feel like that's still a little immature. But VR might be nice to do at some point in time. So I'm thinking with the thought process that in 5 years or so, I might be switching to VR. Or at least
I would love to get into VR. Like, I played with the VR painting. That was fun.
Yeah.
But also, like, so new to me that I had no idea what I was doing that I was ready to sit there for hours and lose myself. And I was like, I can't do this. I'm in my friend's house.
That's the thing, is like,
I'm here to hang out with you and not just jack your system.
Right. That's the thing, is like, I could totally see running VR for you know what? He's a hologram. Why am I fussing over the mod? Dang it. Sorry. I just now realized that I'm trying to put the pockets on my hologram. She doesn't have pockets. She doesn't run hot pockets. The half of my races don't do the pocket thing. So.
If you're going into VR, it's time to upgrade your rig.
Oh yeah. But that's what I'm saying, is I know I'm
Do you have VR?
VR pretty soon, or in the next 5 years, 10 years. So.
Oh, I was like, do you have a VR headset?
No.
Oh, okay.
Not yet.
I don't know. The Oculus is pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie. I was pretty happy with the Oculus.
It looks like a lot of fun. I think.
And the PlayStation one's just too janky. It has too much stuff going on in your head.
I'm going to want ones that have gloves that I can manipulate with each hand, because I really do want to sculpt or craft. So I'm going to want one that has like a concept of each glove. And right now it's just a clicky like handset thing.
Yeah,
but I do want to play like Beat Saber. Sounds like a lot of fun, right? I played Beat Saber like once or twice, and the idea of slicing with lightsabers is just that's exercise I could get into. You know what I mean?
It was fun.
I could, and there
games that I actually got to play on VR were actually really amazing. I was really impressed with them, because there was I think it was called Moss. It's where you're like a little mouse on an adventure, and like every level you go into, it has like some kind of puzzle, and you actually have to get in there and like move around to actually see where the puzzles actually connect and like what to do. Like, you'll run into like a little tiny house, and then you can't do anything because you're not looking technically through the window. So you actually have to like get down into the window so you can actually see what the mouse is doing, and then you can run it back out. And I'm like, that's ingenious and amazing. I love the concept of it.
That's cool.
Just the things that people are actually like thinking about what you can do.
I mean, that's the thing, is like,
Brent just said it. No glove, no love. You can't go to VR until they give you the love.
Right? So
that was a bad joke.
No glove, no love, man.
That was a very bad joke.
You are a very bad human.
Yeah.
All right, we are operable.
But yeah, like there was some really like the concepts of it are really cool, and the things that I've seen people like commit to it are awesome as well. I've only really played with the Oculus and the PlayStation headsets. The PlayStation ones were all right if you're stationary, but when you actually have to start moving, there's so many cords and cables. It just doesn't feel as freeing as the Oculus did.
Sure. Uniform doesn't need to have nipples.
Good heavens. This is some model I put up there, and all of it's default by like he's naked.
Also, I really haven't really tried that much.
He's
This is-
actually actually not naked at all. I don't know what's going on. There we go. Much better. Nice. Give her a face. No. I think that's you. So, yeah, that's one of the reasons why I'm not in any big hurry.
Uh-huh.
Nobody seems to have. I want if we're going to be doing VR, I want to be able to sculpt.
Yeah.
I don't just want to be able to like throw a big. I mean, what's the point of finger painting in VR effectively? Which is part of the reasons I was having a problem with the non-pencil versions of tablets. You know, all you can do is just finger paint with your finger. Well, I haven't done that since kindergarten. I'm not really interested in doing that now. I'm a much more evolved artist than then. I've got many years of experience, so finger painting seems a ridiculous thing to do unless you're trying to be funny and cute, but it's not worth $500 to be cute and funny, you know? So that's sort of my feeling on this was like, So I'm waiting for a good glove, and that's really what's holding me back from VR. Someday they'll come up with a reasonably priced user glove that'll be reasonable and it'll be okay. And, you know, it'll be like a gauntlet, I would assume, because they're going to have little things to transmit information. But I'm okay with that, you know? And then I'll be able to sculpt and manipulate and pull things apart in the VR world, and that'll be useful.
Mm-hmm.
Then I can mold. Then I can actually. I feel like that's the point where I will jump with 3D, from sort of building spaceships to building people or creatures, because then I can take literally and craft clay. You know what I mean? Like I'll be able to do that.
Right.
That's what I'm waiting for.
That'd be cool.
I think so too. All right, what else was I doing? I forgot. We got into this talk. Pets, textures, characters, Alex. Alex's face. Alex's face. Jen doesn't use freckles, so I don't want to change her eyebrows too much. Jen's hair is brown. So other than that, what's going on in your world, man? Bro?
Might have a new job position.
Oh, good.
Did my interview yesterday. It's for a supervisor within the company.
Uh-huh.
And we'll find out next week. That's really what they said. They're like, all right, cool. We got to go through the rest of the candidates because it's their system.
Right. Makes sense.
Even though I was the only one, from what I heard, that turned in their paperwork on time and all this other stuff. So, hey.
We think it's relatively a shoe-in, but we can't count on that.
Yeah. Well, and that, and like, I know, the thing is, the hardest part is I know the managers, and they know me. So, it's that, like, it's me being the, like, I don't want to just be a shoo-in just because I know you people, but at the same time, like, I know I would do a better job than the rest of these candidates.
Right. Right.
And I think they know too, but within, like, how everything is, like, we still have to give everybody equal opportunity to do it.
And yada, yada, yada.
Yeah. Which
Does
I get.
it pay better?
Not really.
Not really.
It's about the same. The only difference is that, so, like, the difference is, instead, how did I word this? I actually liked how I worded it. It actually was a lot better. I actually get to help people and not what was the word I used? I used a different word and it worked really well. Because like I help out routes and whatnot, like picking up people's packages and taking stops off them and whatnot.
Cool.
But now I actually get to help them because I actually get to plan it out for them beforehand.
Right.
And if they actually do need help, I can actually get help for them and not be like, oh, I don't know if I can do that today, kind of thing, you know? I like my times are so messed up, there's no way I can help you out. But like now I can actually help them, or in general sense, like actually be a helping hand. Which is what I do kind of miss, because that's kind of what I did with Red Team Go and all that. And all, like, when I was supervisors, managers, like, helping people was my favorite part.
Yeah. No. I'm with you on that.
And that's where I think I've hit that point where I'm just like, I'm just stagnant. I'm bored. I'm so bored.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Like, I go into work and I'm like, cool, same thing every day. Let's go. And I'm just like, nothing's new. And it's literally the same thing every day where everybody's just like, Colton, you could do this, right? I'm like, yes, but I don't want to.
Right.
It's like, I did this yesterday for this guy. Like, when is he going to learn that I can't keep saving his ass? Kind of thing, you know?
Sure. That makes sense.
And then certain people just rely on me because I am...
Because you'll do it.
Because I'll get it done quicker than anybody else, but you have 5 guys standing next to me on their phones. I'm like, really? I'm the one that's actually working right now, and you're not even going to look at these 5?
Yeah, you're the adult now. Check it.
I hate it.
Yeah.
I've always been this way, though. That's the
it.
downfall. Like, okay, so when I worked at a hospital, I actually had my boss come up because of how efficient I am and how much I do. Like, I can make my job easier. I had my boss literally come up to me and says, Colin, you finish an 8-hour workday in 5 hours. You are going to lose your job if you keep up this pace. And I'm like, cool, then fire me.
Yeah.
If you think I'm not capable of doing my job, or you just let me go home, or pay me more and give me more responsibilities. And then I said all those, and then she just was like so flabbergasted. All she's like, I don't know what to do now. I was like, if you say that that's all I'm doing, if I can get everything done in 5 hours, I'll leave as soon as I'm done.
Yeah, right.
But it's because I have like 2 to 3 hours of downtime in between like my tasks, because everything was on timers. That's pretty much what it was. And I told her, it was like, this job is required for timers.
Right.
I'm a parts picker. Like, I'm an order picker. You send down your order, I pull all your pieces, and I run them up to you. If I have nothing coming in for like 2 hours, and all my side stuff's complete too, because I've been doing that while I'm working.
Right.
What are you wanting me to do? Like, explain that to me. And she's like, well, I need you to go help these guys. I'm like, I'm not helping a team of 5 people that literally 3 of them all day are sitting around on their phones every time I walk up there. Like, that's not how this works. And that's not even my department.
Right.
I told her, like, you could pay me more to go do someone else's job. Sure.
Yeah.
And then that's when she just like, and then after that, her and her boss kept trying to make my work harder to make me work the full 8 hours. They got rid of my computer and told me how to figure it out. They got rid of like certain aspects of my job to make me work longer. And I was like, really? This is where we're going with this? And if they found me sitting down at all, they would start losing it. And I was like,
right.
Are you serious? I was like,
yeah.
I was the one.
That's something I've seen a lot, which is
it's stupid
once
corporate
you get into that point where you're working, boy, they get mad when you don't work.
Yeah. And I don't understand it. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm cool with helping. I'm cool with working. Don't get me wrong, but like, you do realize I just pushed 1,000 pounds or more worth of hydrogen tanks and CO2 tanks across a whole campus. And I can't sit down?
Yep.
And I would literally tell them this, and then they just go quiet. And I was like, do you really want to play HR with me? Because I will start that one with you guys if you really want to play this one.
Yeah.
And then they would leave me alone for about a month, and then they would start it all back up again. And then I realized
It's
the
never going to get
backside
better.
of a hospital is terrible.
Yeah, it's never going to get better.
No, and that's why I left.
So
I was like,
one of the things that I'm noticing, it's an interesting thing.
I'm noticing that since COVID, one thing has happened, and that is people were given just enough of a break for them to find a better job. And they did. And everybody moved out of like McDonald's because you're stuck in McDonald's because you know that if you take a break to try to find a better job, you'll get fired. Then you won't be able to pay rent. Then you'll be on the street. And since you're in this instant, like, oh God, we're going to die any second now, you put up with whatever crap McDonald's wants to give you. And so this tradition in a culture of not working together in a team, there's like two different schools of thought. And I've been actually really thinking about this. I know you're going to be shocked because of my arguments about Captain Pike. Because Captain Pike...
I was like,
no, my arguments about Captain Pike on the Star Trek forums, there's a lot of old school military who are saying Captain Pike's not an effective commander because they're from the 80s version of the military where you beat on people until they do the job. And that's the way it works. And if you're not beating on people, they're not going to do the job. And I was saying, you know, in the 90s, we discovered in high corporate level that doesn't work. You get more out of people if you can work with them. So you can have, I can say, Colton, you and I are going to work as a team to finish this project. And I can get 150% out of you. Or I can say, well, I'm just saying, or I could say, Colton, you will do this thing right now, and I will get exactly 100% out of you, not 1% more.
You'd probably get less, and I would laugh at you.
Right.
I'm like, you're funny. You want me to do what?
I can beat you until you give me 100%. And that's what usually happens. And so, and what corporate America discovered was it's better to let you have 80% some days and 150% other days.
Yes.
And work together as a team, because then I can actually ultimately pare down the department to 5 people. But then if you swap managers and you get a beat them until they work, then your 5 people can't do the job that originally happened before. And that's when you get that disparity that you've seen where you're in there and you know you're doing the job of 12 people because 4 of your people have become disenfranchised. And so they don't do any work now, they do 100%, which has left 4 people's worth of 50% to do, which is 200%. You end up doing 300%. You know what I mean? And that's what ends up occurring.
But also, like, what I was also going to add on to that too is that the good thing about what happened with 2020 with employees versus employer is that it flipped the market.
Yeah.
Employees actually have the power now, not the employers. And that was the problem that we were having, is that the employers had all the power.
Exactly.
And the employees had none, hence why they were locked into these jobs of McDonald's, whatever, fast food, doesn't matter what it was, like these low-end jobs that they weren't able to progress in anything else because they would get home, they would be tired, they'd be dying. They're like, I'm not even gonna have any drive to go look for a different job.
Exactly. I don't want to go look for another job. This is incredibly tiring.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm in that same boat. Like when I was looking for those other jobs there for like 3 months, like I was putting in like maybe an application here and there when I had time, when I actually felt like it. When it fell in my lap is when I would do it. I'm like, cool. Like one friend's like, hey, we have an opening. You'd be perfect for this. Just put your application, land the interview. I'm like, all right, cool. I'll do it. Did it. Thought I landed the interview. Didn't get the job. What do you do? Can't say much, but at the same time, I've talked to that friend. They're like, no, it's a hard position. And what they're looking for is this, and I thought this is what they were looking for. And I know as soon as you got your foot in the door, you'd excel. But that's the problem is for me half the time is getting them to believe that I will excel as soon as I walk in that door.
Sure.
And I don't know. And a lot of employers nowadays don't like that. They don't want someone that can just like I've realized it. They don't want someone that can just come in and get the job done.
Oh yeah, well, and
they want something they can mold. They can do all this other stuff with.
Well, that's the thing. You've got two schools of thought. Either you and I are working together towards a common goal, or you are my slave and I will make you do the job that I want you to do. There's two schools of thought, and I believe we have. This is why there were remember back in the day when they were making fun of how there were all these seminars for management, that they were always throwing people in management seminars, and it was all about being touchy-feely, and it was all about being nice to your employees, and everybody was mocking
show compassion.
Right. And everybody was mocking it. And the real truth is because somebody had discovered this mathematical formula, which is I can get you to put out 150% if you think you're working, if you've got buy-in. If I can
this is the direction that we see the market going. You just need to start looking that this is how everything's going to change on us. And it did.
And it did.
It all changed.
The market changed over, and the big companies now all operate with this 150% model. And the little companies don't. And so what happened was the moment COVID gave somebody a break, they all moved to that model because why wouldn't you? I'd rather have buy-in on your project.
Well, and it's also,
it's
stopping the micromanaging.
Yeah, that's the thing is the micromanaging.
Because also the other thing was me and Gerard were talking about this. He's like, working from home, I actually technically work more, but I'm happier because I don't have to worry about what am I going to make for dinner tonight when I get home? Where do I have to go pick up the kids when I have to do this? Like, I can time manage myself better to get to this point where when I was working in an office, I had to plan everything after work or before work, or like, how am I going to get to work on time because I have to drop my kids off at school? Like all these other factors that weren't there anymore here in 2020 when they were working from home. But also, like, there was another person I listened to, a podcast thing. It might have been what do you call it? TikTok, whatever.
Yeah.
This girl brought out a statistic. She's like, statistically, most people, like, I think she said it was like 70-80% of people in an 8-hour workday only really technically work 3 hours of what their shift really is. And when she said that, I was like, that's actually a very good statistic depending on what your job is. Yes.
And it totally makes sense. You were just talking about it with your hospital.
Yeah.
I mean, like, at some point, you get to the point where how much work were you putting in? You were putting in the work ethic.
And not even just that. Like, they hire you for an 8-hour workday, but, like, the more you do something over and over and over again, if you're not getting better at it, you should be, like, everybody gets better at their job, which means they get faster. So they find breaking points where they can actually put in a break, go get a cup of coffee. Know every time when you have your bathroom break, like, oh, cool, it's 12 o'clock. I gotta go use the head. I'll be right back, kind of thing. Like, you start planning your days out around work after you learn your job. And that's why I was like, it makes so much more sense now.
When I worked at Time Warner, that was a thing I did. So my job at Time Warner was this. I was hired as a temp because they had a temp whose job it was to check the program they called Remedy. Check Remedy and see if anybody had made a mistake in their ticket processing stuff for all the techs who were doing tech work. If they'd made a mistake, then I would copy all the mistakes into an Excel spreadsheet, and I would then send the spreadsheet to the managers, so the managers could then decide whether they were going to discipline the people or whatever. I don't know.
Right.
Didn't really matter. Anyway, well, I found out about a year into the job because I was copying and pasting everything, and then I finally said I could make this in Excel and it'll be in Access and it'll be a whole lot faster. So I made it in Access, and then modified everything up to Access, and then found out that they backed up all of Remedy every night to a database that was actually accessible by ODBC connection.
Okay.
So I asked the managers, because the managers didn't care as long as the thing got to them the next day.
As long as
So
they're
I
getting what they wanted. Yeah.
Yeah, they just wanted what they wanted. And it got to them the next day because it took me all day to compile all of this and build it into the spreadsheet, it took all day. So my report took all day anyway. So instead, what I ended up doing was my PC stayed on all night at my desk. And at about 2 a.m, it made an ODBC connection to the backup server, pulled the backup server, sorted all the data, populated a spreadsheet, and emailed it to all the bosses. I had it wait until 7 a.m. to email all of the bosses so that they wouldn't know that this was all happening automatically. But my entire job did that. I switched from spending all day copy paste to
making sure all the information's there now that the computer's up. Oh, cool. Got it.
Yeah, and it would email me at 2 a.m. to tell me if it failed or not. So if I didn't get my confirmation email first thing in the morning, then I would know I'd have to go in early to force it to connect.
Start moving things around to make sure it all works.
To push it through. But I did exactly that. I took an 8-hour job and literally automated the whole thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I automated the entire thing.
But here's the other thing you also prove, though, too, is that it does have failures that you still need someone on board. So when it does shoot a wrong code, you need to be able to fix it.
And the cool thing about this was, at some point, because I really loved my manager. My manager was one of those super fair people who was willing to even risk his job because you did the right thing. And I had one time, I found out that one of the upper management was changing my numbers so that their division wouldn't look bad. And I went to my manager and he went to her and said, "You can't do that anymore." And she threatened him. And he said, I'm going to have my reports analyst guy send your report to me now. I mean, that's what he said. So he went to bat for me on things that, politically should not have been a wise move, but whatever. But he was a Marine.
It's like, hey, you're also in the same sense, though.
In justice and doing it correctly, and that was what he did. And I really liked him. And I really liked his work ethic and everything like that. He was cool. I dug him. He was also super conservative and loved making all kinds of snarky jokes to me because this was during the Bush era and when Gore was coming on. And I actually was not political.
Senior
at
or
all.
junior?
Junior. So
Junior,
it was during Bush Jr. And this was just before 9/11. And so during the election cycle, he kept giving me things that said Gore because he thought I was pro-Gore, but really I was just generic liberal. I actually didn't know what was going on politically at all. So it was fair, but it was playful. It was very playful the way he and I were working. I mean, it was not serious at all. And it was actually kind of what led me to get into political fights now, which actually I'm kind of regretting. I wish I had stayed more politically neutral, but I enjoyed that so much that I'm still trying to recapture the playful fight between liberal and conservative. Before it was you're evil because you're liberal or you're evil because you're conservative. But when it was just a playful, we both are on the other side of the aisle politically. Ha ha ha. Here, I'll give you some jokes about Bush. And oh yeah, I'll give you some jokes about Gore. And that was kind of cute. Anyway,
the long and short of it
was I came clean to him one day and said, "Hey, I've got to let you know that for the last 2 months, I've not been doing the spreadsheets at all. I've had it automated." And he was like, "You did? That's awesome. Do you want to look for other things? Because if you can figure out how to do this automatically, would you like to look for other problems?" And I was like, that would be awesome, because I actually liked that. That was the aspect of the job that I enjoyed, which was looking for problems, looking for issues. And so he made me a reports analyst 1, hired me under the company direct, paid me 10 times more because I was working as a temp, so I was making $7.25 an hour. So he brought me on brought me on as a salaried employee. He made me a reports analyst 1, gave me an actual title. I continued to run it automatically, but then he had me actually hunting down problems in system analysis, looking for mistakes being made, not necessarily by the people, but also mistakes in the system. Are we too inefficient here? Could we be faster in this section? Could we do this better? And that
Can the computer take care of this? Can we Do we
Yeah.
actually need? Do we need 10 people
love
doing this one job? Yeah.
Right. I mean, I'm an artist and I don't do well with numbers, but if I can make the PC do the numbers, I know
Yeah.
what to tell the PC to look for, which is one of the reasons why the star charts frustrated me so much. I knew what data I wanted to get from the raw data, and I wasn't getting it. It was driving me crazy.
Right.
So as much
No,
fun.
and I
as
get. No, that's
Brent
awesome.
makes
That's a
for
good
me.
work environment right there. That's a good manager though, right there. It's like, hey, I finished
Yeah,
my
exactly.
job now. This, you know what? I'm gonna hire you on because you just did something like that saves us hours, and literally you can keep track of this every day whenever you
Right.
want.
And you just need to make
Because
sure
you have
that
it automated to shoot you. It's like, hey, we have an error code. Cool.
Yeah.
Let me go in and fix it, which is only going to take me like an hour or two,
right.
give or take.
And then he gave me a job that I wanted to do, and I didn't
Yeah.
even know I wanted to do that. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't know that was my thing, but I had been talking to him about doing genealogy with my sister, and how much fun it was to go try to pull a family thread and figure out what happened in that family and straighten out the information and the data, and how rewarding
Why they
that
were
was.
in this state for a while, and next thing you know,
and
it's
why
from
they
3
moved
kids.
here.
Who were
and
you
crap
with
like
during
that.
this time?
That fascinated me. And he's
Yeah.
like, well, if that fascinates you, would you be interested in looking for mistakes in the system? And I'm like, ooh.
Let's
And
go.
it lit my fire. I was like, oh my God, that would be so much fun. You know?
Yeah, and then he
And-
threw you on the salary too, which makes it super easier for
Oh,
you because
yeah.
you always know what you're making every month, and you're not
You know
having to
what
worry
was
about,
sad?
oh, I need to work 20 hours this week just to
I
make
was
sure I
making
make my paycheck.
$45,000 a year back then. That was $2,000. And I
That's
liked
nice.
that job because I was an idiot.
Yeah, sadly.
Part of it was he moved on. He got promoted to a higher level. And
Yeah.
so he was no longer in the level of my manager. And we got a new manager who was much more of a micromanager. And
Yeah.
she actually started irritating me because she wanted to know everything I did. And then she wanted to change all of my reports, and she wanted to change everything I was doing. And she
Uh-huh.
didn't like the automation side because she didn't understand it. So
Yep.
she really kind of wanted to pull that down too, and stuff like that. So,
Pretty much having it go backwards and not go forwards. Yeah.
yeah, and so I ultimately then cashed out my stock options and decided to become a full-time artist, and that was a mistake. And so I ended up having to go back to school, and that was a mistake because I went to Westwood. It would have been fine if I had kept if I had been able to keep my degree. I think I would have been okay.
Right.
Because right now I'd be a teacher and I'd have a classroom and all would be fine. And I've discovered that I love working in classrooms and working with kids. So it would have been fine. I would have.
I've thought about it.
practice
I've thought about
25
doing
years
that kind
ago.
of stuff now.
Yeah, I would have passed my
Like, 'cause
practice and I'd be an
we
art
kinda
teacher right
talked,
now, or I'd be a science teacher or something.
That's what I was thinking. I was actually thinking about. I was like, I could technically because I remember it was a few months ago. This art group I'm with that's from California that we just meet up on Discord. Just because of COVID, and they just kept it going. Like, nope, we still do meetups in person, but like for everybody else that we've made friends throughout the world, every day.
Well, that's what this is.
We're drawn together. Yeah, just like this. But like, one of them, and so a lot of them are alumni from my school too.
Yeah.
And they were like, Colton, you can go into teaching. I never knew that was an option for me, and blah blah. And it was like, that's why you should like get your degree so you can actually have that opportunity. And I was like, but I really don't want to be a teacher. Like, I just want to do the job. I want to go in. I want to start drawing. I just like, and then also like, they also don't know how ambitious I am.
Yeah.
Because that's at first they're all like, oh, you just want to be an artist, but I'm like, no, I want to run it. I want to go all the way up.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be a director. I want to be an art director. I don't want to just be the grunt. I want to be an art director. The grunt side is just so I actually learn the process. That's the only reason I want to be a grunt.
Sorry, I had to run Georgia off from trying to
Oh, you're good.
screw up my chair.
But that's like for
George
me though.
George.
That's the only reason I wanted to be a grunt in the concept art world, is so I learn the processes, learn how everybody else works, meet all these different people that know, like, see how they work at the same time. So when I
Right.
move up above them, I know how to delegate. And then after that, I move up before another step to director instead of just lead, and I can delegate even more. And that's the whole thing. It's like, I'm doing this in a whole different world that you guys don't understand. I don't think would understand. Or some of them probably do understand. I just never got to that conversation with them.
Are we going to start seeing a whole new world now?
We can. I mean, that's kind of like what I'm doing right now with FedEx. Like,
yeah,
I did the whole grunt work now, and now, like, I just thought I literally was just going to be grunt and now this opportunity opened up, and I'm just like, you know what? Let's go into what I really want to do.
Yeah. Well, and that's
learn how to make people's lives easier, because I know how to make it easier. Sometimes some people just don't like it or don't hear it. I mean, and I'm also at fault for that too, because of the new systems they keep trying to push, like, oh, it's supposed to make it easier. I'm like, I get how it is, but here's your problems with the system currently.
Yeah.
I see how it can make our lives easier. I see how all this is supposed to work the way it's supposed to, but here's the flaws that I am seeing right now. If you can reiterate those to me. And once I start talking about that, a lot of the engineers just click out. They're like, what do you mean? Our system's flawless. I'm like, I'm not saying it has problems. I'm saying here's the biggest problem with your system right now. And the biggest problem they have is employment. That's the one problem with their system is employment.
Yep.
You do not have enough employees to be running this system to 100% efficiency is what you guys are wanting right now. This system does not run off that. This system runs off 100% efficiency. That is the biggest bug you guys have created for your system.
And that's the thing.
But that's where we come in, and we have to fix that part, because we're like, this person can't be working 12-hour days for 6 days a week. Like, let's give them a break. Let's break that down to a 5-hour workday for them on their 6th day, so they can just come in, go home. Because we need the 6 days just to get caught up, kind of thing. And we're like, give them a 5-hour day. They'll be much more lenient, much more happier to be like, you know what? Thank you. I'll be back tomorrow. Thank you. I appreciate that. It's like, I understand that we're asking so much of you right now, but like, we need to figure out how to like. And this is where me and my current boss, one of my current bosses, he's the one that's pushing me for lead. And this is the reason why, is because me and him have these conversations every day we see each other. And it's the same question I've been being asked since I started working here, is like, why aren't you in management? I was like, because I don't want to work 16-hour work days. That's literally what it is. I've seen you guys work 16-hour days consecutively, and I don't want that. And that's where he finally came to me with this lead position. He's like, how about you become my lead, or a lead? It really depends on where they put me. But he's like, I'm trying to push for you to have me to have you. But that's totally up to them, not me. But he's like, come in at 6, you leave by 3 o'clock the latest. I'm like, you know what? I can do that. Like, that one's good. I have no problem doing a full 8-hour workday. Yeah. Maybe a 9. Maybe a 9, just because there's that last minute things that need to get done.
Right.
I can put a few extra 30 minutes to an hour in. That's fine. But like, if you can guarantee that I'm getting off at like 2, 3 o'clock every day, I'll accept that offer.
I'm with that.
Yeah. And that's kind of where me and him are at right now. And he's just like, and that's where and this is also him realizing what I can do, and also realizing that I am a negotiator, and I will negotiate myself into something and out of it if I have to.
Right.
And that's the biggest thing with being in management right now too, like we were talking about. You have to negotiate with your employees. You can't just be demanding and just beating them to death with everything. It's like, no, okay, cool. You can't do that today? Sweet. We'll work around it.
Well, and that's, like I said, that's part of the trick.
Right.
You know, do you treat your employees like they're a resource, or do you treat them as people who are helping you do a thing?
It shouldn't just be like, it should be. The hardest part I have with that is that it should be both, because they are technically both.
Well, it's not. I'm not saying that are they.
I'm saying,
Yeah.
do you treat them like
Do you treat them literally like a full-blown resource, or do you treat them like people that are actually working with you? Yes.
Right. Are they your resource, or are they
Yeah.
your people? You know, who
Right.
are they?
And I prefer people, and that's actually, and I think that's one reason why Red Team Go went so well.
Yep.
It's because we treated them like people. And people actually wanted to do. They always came up to me and were like, "What can I do? What more can I do? Give me something else." I'm like, "Guys, I'm not paying you. You do realize this?" And like, no, we want more. I was like, "Okay, this is what I need. Can you guys any ability to jump on this?" And like majority of them were like, "That's way out of my spectrum." I'm like, got it. But I do need this. And they're like, "Okay, I can do that." I'm like, cool, thank you.
Yeah, you and I haven't talked a whole lot about RTG. I still feel
In
like
a
we gotta
while.
have that. I'm not sure.
In a while.
I was there for all of it, and I still don't know what the hell happened, and I was there. So my feeling is, as long as nobody cares that I'm your buddy and their buddy and everything like that, I'm good.
Nobody cares anymore. It's
As
so
long as
far
no one
gone now.
cares. we're
No,
good.
that's the part
I
that always
had
surprises
kind of a
me.
talk
'Cause-
with Andy at one point in time, about a year and a half or 2 years ago.
Yeah.
He
How'd
still
that go?
harbors a lot of
know.
anger, but I think Andy harbors anger. I think
But
that's
here's
just
the thing. What happened with me and Andy was the
It's
same thing
between
that
you and
happened
Andy.
between. Not even that. It's the exact same thing that happened between Andy and Nate. Nate Hamill.
Yeah.
You know how they used to be buddy.
he
like,
actually,
doing all
that's
these
what
things?
he said. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's literally what it is, and I know it's like I know what it is, but I don't know if I should say it publicly. Like that's more of a
Well.
private conversation for you and me. But yeah,
But
that's
you and I can go get beers someday.
yeah. Beer's
We'll
coffee.
go get beers. We'll talk about it. It's all good. It's exactly what happened with Andy. Truth is, I'm only wanting to know for the curiosity's sake.
Yeah.
Truth of the matter
that's-
is, I think
That's the
My
part I always
first
think's funny is
opinion-
because like that was 2019. Like beginning of 2019 is when technically RTG finally dissolved.
Yep.
And it's funny to this day, even to this day, I get random messages from people. It's like, what the hell happened? I'm like, what are you talking about? It's like, this person just started like saying this stuff and you did this and that. And I was like,
oh yeah.
I was like,
first of
that's
all,
still going?
let me
Like,
back up.
we're 5 years away now. What the heck are you
Oh,
talking
we're not
about?
5 years away from 2019.
We're not.
Don't make
But
life
still.
worse. But
Like it feels like a decade now, and I'm just like, what are you guys talking about?
it was a different lifetime ago.
Yeah.
If anybody's wondering where RTG is, transfer them over here to QAC, because Quasar. Well,
Yeah.
so here's my feeling about what happened with RTG. It's the same thing that's happened many times in my life. When money gets involved with people, things get weird. So
Yeah.
QuaCk has a mission of we will help each other and no money will be involved. and then we should stay fine. And
Yeah.
that's cool. You and I can be buddies, and if you need me to help you financially on something, I'm sorry. I mean, I can personally help you, but like as far as like a QuaCk
As
project,
QuaCk goes, no.
yeah, we're staying out of that. And
No,
that's
and I
my
get
feeling.
it. I'm perfectly fine with that. I was just more like,
every time I've had friends who've had money involved, feelings get hurt, something gets screwed up, something doesn't work the way it's supposed to, and it sucks a lot, and I feel really bad. And it's my policy to not do that anymore. So, my thought is, and it's not a knock against you, it's not saying, well, I don't trust Colton with money or anything like that, or whatever. This
this is
that
literally
makes
the
them
biggest
bad.
problem that we had, like for us in general, is that comic books are not a lucrative field.
No,
We
it's
do
really
not.
not.
Comic books don't make that much money, and by our 5th year, it showed. Like we didn't have the funding anymore. Like the books were selling, but they weren't selling fast enough to help fund next projects or even have employment. That was the hardest part. I was like, I can't pay people, and I started like by the 4th year, I started telling that people, I'm like, I don't see us making that money.
Yeah.
That if you're trying to make this like a career within RTG, don't. because we aren't
It's
making
not
the
gonna
money
work.
that you guys are wanting. Like, I would love to be Image and whatnot, but Image had money walking in. These guys had big names.
Yeah.
Like the original six people of Image, all were big name people from DC and Marvel. We have no names. The only names we had were Colorado, and that was the hardest part. If we didn't, we were at that.
Thing is, like, if we were to talk about how like QuaCk is going to work together,
Yeah.
if you're going to do that, you pay for your own comics printing and everything like that. Now, we might work together to take some of your comics with my comics and put them at black and red.
Yeah.
I'd be happy to do that. You know, you deliver your comics over here every so often, and I'll bundle them with mine and give them to Kari, and she can stick them in black and red. I'm okay with that part, but I'm not going to help you print your comics. You're on your own printing your comics. I'm on my own for printing mine. Once I've got books in hand and they're sitting right here, I'll put your books at my table when I'm going at X number con or whatever. You know, X con. That came funnier than it needed.
That's also another reason why I wanted to switch positions too, is because I might be able to start swinging shows again, or at least networking again. I missed that. The biggest part was networking with people. And actually,
that's what I was thinking about with RTG. So I'm glad we said this, because I'm like, I don't want it to be unsaid. I've got no beef with you at all, and don't believe any of the
I figured as much. You invited me to come hang out with you.
Yeah, I figured as much. I am, but I also, on the same token, have no beef with the people who have beef with you. So I got no issue.
And that's the same thing here. Like, I just laugh at it now. I'm like, that's really your biggest problem.
It's been a long ass time. It really.
Like, I know what started it. I know what people are saying, and it comes because it still comes up to this day. And I'm like,
I'm sure that some of it is relatively accurate. However, I'm sure that some of it's not.
I know exactly what it is, and I know exactly what happened, and said parties will not admit to it. And every time I bring it up, they all go quiet and walk away because they know either I'm correct or they're so far gone from the situation they're just stirring the pot, and they just realize that they can't stir the pot. You know? Yeah. And that's usually what it is.
Which is fine. Anyway.
And I'm perfectly okay with it. I'm perfectly okay.
I've never talked about it online, and I didn't mean to bring it up right now. And stuff like that. I'm sorry.
But no, like, I do. Like, the only thing I really miss the most is that I haven't really been out there as much. I haven't done anything with the artist communities in Colorado. I haven't done really anything. It kind of...
It is a bummer.
Like, I started reflecting on this, like, all summer. Actually, since the beginning of the year, I was like, what am I doing that's not the same, that's just making me feel like I'm not doing anything? Like, I'm going to school. I'm making art. I'm doing awesome things. Like, I don't, if you're on my Instagram, you've seen it. Like, I'm posting some really good stuff. This is some of the better digital work I've ever done in my life.
You are doing incredible stuff. By the way, you're also, I wanted to tell you this, you're honing in on your proportions better.
Thank you. That's what I'm trying to do. Like, perspective and proportions are the two things that I'm really trying to lock in. And I'm doing, all my friends have said exactly the same thing.
That's why
they're like, your perspectives and your proportions are freaking locked in.
That's why I do this, is because I don't have to sit there and fuss with it until I am OCD about perspective and proportion. It drives me crazy. It bothers me when you're out of perspective and out of proportion, but I don't say anything because it's your artwork and that's not my business. Right?
Yeah.
But
I mean, if you ever want to just like, hey, Cole, and I want to point out something, like, please do.
No. But when I'm out of proportion and out of perspective, then I cannot release the picture.
Right.
I'm not allowed to in my head. My head won't allow me. So.
But there's also a lot of times too when you finish a piece and you're like, that looks great. You post it, and you don't see the problem until someone else, until you get some fresh eyes on it, or you come back like a week or two later, and you're like, crap. I did something wrong.
I screwed.
Which happens. I mean, that's with anybody. Once you look at a piece way too long, you stop seeing the flaws. And sometimes that's why you need fresh eyes on it. And also, there is that time too. It's like, I even told some of my teachers, I was like, they're like, hey, Colin, I want you to keep doing this and this and this. I'm like, I'm not going to lie. I'm so far gone from this piece now. And they're like, that's cool. As soon as you say that, they're always like, no, right now, this is an A. I just want to push it farther. But if you're done, like as an artist, that you don't want to touch this anymore, and you're like, I got better stuff in my head and I want to put it out, I'm not going to touch it. We're done here. Let's move on to the next piece. Bring it up. And that's literally why I like some of my, I love these teachers, because they know that. They're like, no, as artists, we all hit that point where it's like, I'm not going to keep trying to put more and more work into this piece, because I'm so far gone from it that I don't care anymore. Like, I have other stuff I want to work on. And usually when you do that, they're just like, cool, let's keep moving.
Yeah.
And that's even a good mentality, because there's a lot of people that will literally just sit there for years on a piece. Not even years, but like months. And be like, it's just not perfect. I need to get it perfect. I'm like, and they'll never release anything else.
Oh yeah, that's
and that part
one
kind
of
of like
the things that Brent is watching me for. Because if
making
I
sure you don't
fuss,
get stuck. That's good.
if I fuss too long, I will spend weeks on something. This scene is actually easily fixed. I'm actually pretty proud of it.
Perfect.
Because it's like I'm actually able to bring this up. Okay.
But that's even the better part too. Is like having also a non-artist friend looking at your stuff too sometimes is always good.
Critical.
Because they'll look at it like something looks weird.
Yeah.
You know, like there's plenty of times where I've looked at someone's piece and I'm like, I don't know what it is, but something looks off. They're like, really? I'm like,
Well,
yes, something looks off. And then I'll point out like I'm like, I think it's over here, because this is where my eyes keep pointing, like instantly dragging to, because everybody's eyes will start look like something that you're registering. Well, your eyes will start looking at. And if I'm like, it's somewhere in this corner, or it's somewhere right here in this piece, yada yada yada, and they're just like, oh, okay. I'm like, just work somewhere in there, and see if it like stops messing with my eyes. And then they do, and then I'm like, okay, cool. It looks better. And then I'll actually see what the actual flaw was. I'm like, oh, I got it now. Your pinky toe was off or something. Like, it's just something a little small. Like, it's something tiny. I'm like, I don't know what it is, but it's really messing with my eyes right now.
And I think this is actually this color. This color. Yeah, that's this color. All right. Sorry. I'm like, wait, what's wrong with my eyes? Oh, I know what's wrong with my eyes. Oh, I should probably also warn all of you people, we're doing nudity again, so all of you with sensitive eyes, be sure to not look.
Those eyes don't look that sensitive.
They don't look what?
Those eyes don't look that sensitive.
Right. You have sensitive eyes like these eyes right here. Save as textures, characters, Changli. Changli's eyes. Yes, replace it. All right. Then her eyes should change color here in just a second when it figures out to update this.
I just realized I had to get a prompt going for everybody at my little art group for school.
I think I have rigged this set, which is the set to go for the scene that was in the first part of the comic, and it is rigged. Again,
It's rigged.
I had to fix it. Well, I had to fix it because it wasn't, working, or it was still old. It was before I had done all of the modifications to the system and stuff like that. So it didn't know where all the templates were, and it didn't know where all the textures were. I guess what I've done is I've done some organizational work internally on my Blight Rising directory so that everything is logical now. You know, there's people, there's spaceships, there's vehicles, there's props, there's sets. And that's where everything now, all the textures are being sorted to different things. And so I hadn't done that. So this has been a while. So, and I have only lost one thing, I believe, and that's what the cut here. Why didn't it update? It is set. Oh, this one's not set for update. Refresh images. That's because you're not set for it. Browse, textures, characters, Changli's eyes. Work. There we go. That's what it should be.
Also, like, oh yeah, what I was saying though, that like that's like with the new position hours and that kind of brings me back to where I was happier. I think that's what I'm trying to collect. I'm trying to get back to that point of when I was working 6 to 3 or 6 to 4, like 7 to 4, like a 9 to 5 job pretty much.
Right.
And then doing art groups and doing all this stuff outside of work and not just going to work, coming home, trying to figure out what I'm doing and then going to bed and just recycling it, you know?
Have you done camera work yet?
You mean?
Like the proper like camera. When we do 3D, you still have to know how to use a camera.
Oh, like camera angles?
Not just the angles. Like here, I set my camera for 55 millimeters because at 35 millimeters, it gets distorted and weird. It looks a little too creepy. Right? So when we're doing intimate close-ups, you actually kind of want to pull the 55 meters or 55 millimeters so that her face is flatter and not quite as creepy looking.
So, I mean, with that one though, the difference between what you're doing and what you're executing though is that you're going to be drawing over her anyway, right?
Of course. So I can adjust.
I mean,
but what I'm talking about is that 3D has to be cognizant of what lenses we use for these things. Like, for example, I'm using my movie making skills here. Like my experience on set with people swapping lenses on the big cameras and crap like that, and going, you know, and listening to the DP go, well, we're going to be shooting a close-up, but I don't want to roll the camera in onto her nose, so I'm going to use a longer lens and get closer, but it's going to flatten her face out. So we're going to have to be working, you know what I mean? Like that kind of balance there stuff.
Right.
I don't know if we ever talk about that in your school. So
I personally don't think, if I remember right, talking to my teachers when I was doing Maya 1 and 2, they really said that if you're really wanting more camera angle type stuff and whatnot, you need to go take a photography class. Because we're just going to touch it. We're not going to deep dive into it, because technically learning about, because that's exactly what you're talking about. Which lenses to use, which where, like how to shoot, where to put your lights and all that other stuff. Like they're like, that is more of a learned feat.
There's a reason why I know all these things. I mean, like there's
exactly, you do photography. I
like,
don't.
It's sitting right over here. My camera is sitting right here.
But like for me, like I've taught myself the basics. But I mean, I taught myself because of art, like the rule of thirds, the what is it? The golden.
Well, that's composition. So that's a different
composition. But composition's a really good thing to know, though, when you're also doing photography as well. Because you still want to set up a really good shot.
But composition between drawing and photography is the same rules, because it's the end result. I'm talking about the physicality of lenses and trying to get range besides distorting your, or like when I shoot my spaceships, right? Over here I've got all my spaceships that I've spent this entire time changing their scales, because there's human scale, at which time you need super detail on each plate of the hull, and then there's like the scale you usually do a spaceship at which time you don't need each individual plate identified on the hull. You just need like the big power lines that are going up and down the hull and stuff like that. So there's like a difference in not only the distance that we use with the camera angle, but also with the texture mapping. But on top of all of that, you need to know to shoot a spaceship with a long lens. Otherwise, or depending on what you're after, if you shoot it with a really long lens, then it looks like it's a toy. So you want to be able to shoot it with a correct lens so it looks big and has bulk, you know.
Right.
And that's something I notice makes. And so there have been a lot of times where I've seen CG work with the Enterprise especially, where people use a normal 35 millimeter lens and then bring in a model that's about this long, so it looks like a toy, because they don't adjust the lens, the camera for it. You know what I mean? And so you end up with this, why does that look like the ship is a toy? It actually ended up in one of the movies too. Like they shot the model with the wrong lens, and you can see it. It makes the Enterprise look like a little toy, and it doesn't look right. And it was a mistake, but you know, hey, it's $1 million. You're not going back and fixing it and stuff.
Right.
That's the way it goes. So anyway, yeah, no, I was just curious. I mean, it's totally fine. I'm not complaining or anything. I just was pondering whether that was a thing that happened or not.
So yeah, I mean, in my classes, they're not going to go with that much in depth. We just more touch. It's like, all right, this is what this is used for. This is what that's used for. Now you guys just play with it. It's all on you guys from here on out, not
Right.
for him. And that's kind of, I was like, okay, cool. So yeah, it's mostly on us to figure out what we're needing to do and how to get better at it. But that's cool. I get it.
I was just wondering. I was
Yeah,
curious.
that's why he was saying, he's
Okay.
like, if you guys really want to get more in depth with this and become really good at the camera side of it, go take a photography class.
I agree.
Because you will learn
I think
so
everybody
much
should
more.
learn photography anyway, because that's who I am.
Right.
No, it's actually cool. I was just curious. That was more of a curious thing because I did not, in fact, learn photography when we were in college, and I thought about that later, and I was like, I should have, because at 3D, I think a lot of people miss that. But there is.
But also, I think a lot of people in 3D don't, like, when 3D was coming out, didn't realize that was going to be a good market. Like, it's like with any technology that comes out.
Yeah.
It's like once it first comes out, you're like, this is so efficient, this is going to make things better, but at the same time, in the lingering, you're like, is this going to come out and then crash? Where nobody touches it in 5 years, Because that's a lot of programs and things like that now, like, especially in the entertainment industry, like, let's say, why everybody uses Photoshop. Everybody uses Maya, 3D Studio Max, things like that. Is because those have still been in the industry for so long that they know that they hand it over, someone's gonna do it. But like Blender, for example, when it first came out, everybody in the industry was like the actual like AAA games were like, no, we're not gonna touch that yet. And everybody's like, no, it's so efficient, you can do this. And they're like, nope, we're not touching it, because it's competing in a market that already has powerhouses.
Mm-hmm.
So they're wondering if in 5 years, is it still going to be a powerhouse, or is it going to be on that level? If it doesn't actually hit that level in 5 years, it's gone. And why would we waste $1 million to train all you to use this new program that nobody's going to use it?
Exactly.
And that's where Blender has finally started doing that. And that's why now people are using Blender in the studios.
I love Blender. I mean, now that I've kind of gotten over my I hate Blender part, but
I have
love
Blender. I haven't touched it yet.
I'm getting good at it. I'm getting good
I
at
need
it.
to.
I've
I just
built
haven't gotten
all
around
of my
to it.
ships in Blenders this so far, and
Nice.
I mean, like this MPV that I use all the time, that was built in Blender.
Mm-hmm.
Everything.
I haven't done much 3D work. I did those few classes and I was messing with it one night and I just haven't touched it since. I got back into wanting to draw, paint, get back into my art side more than my modeling side. And I love modeling.
I'm not going to argue with that at all.
I think I might be a person that's going to like ZBrush more, because it is more sculpting based more than shape based, if that makes sense.
No,
and I think that's where ZBrush might be my thing, and I'm not sure until I actually get into it. But I've also watched like friends play with ZBrush, and I get more excited watching them over someone building something in Maya or Blender or something. So
makes sense.
Yeah. Oh shoot, we're over our time.
We are way over. I'm about to go hit up we got pizza yesterday, so there's some pizza in there.
Oh, cool. I thought you were going to go on your walk.
I did that this morning. I actually
cool.
now walk first thing in the morning because it's just way too hot now.
Although you and your buddy go walk in the morning?
Yeah, I now I walk before the show. And it's actually
Nice.
both beneficial because my wife is after school teacher, so she actually doesn't leave until 10. And so it's been really good because she can go with us. So
Oh, cool. There you go.
it's been nice. So we've been walking together around the lake and stuff like that. And it's been cool. So that helps a whole lot. So yeah.
All right. Well, I'll let you get out of here, because I just got to go get ready for work.
Thanks for joining me, and congratulations on computer.
Thank you.
Cool.
It was great
And your
seeing you
hair,
guys.
which also looks cool. I'm just saying.
No,
Well,
that's literally, I was like, I don't want to get ready. I was when you're like, come join me. I was like, I don't want to get ready right now. And you're just like, come join me again. I was like, you know what? That's a good point. I should probably test this stuff again. So I was like,
should at least run
give me
the
2
test.
seconds, ran to the bathroom, brushed my hair out, because I was like, it was all still bedhead. I was like, yeah,
It's all good.
make myself
My
look
hair's gonna be purple
semi-presentable.
starting next week,
Are you doing it?
Yeah. Well, I already did blue. You just weren't here
Yeah.
for it.
I saw the picture.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but now I'm going to do purple now because Boimler is purple. So from Lower Decks, so I'm going to do the purple hair now. Which
I was thinking
actually
about going back
that was
to
one of
teal
the,
again, just because
that was one of those hysterical things that happened in the last night's episode of Lower Decks. He was going through all of his like logs that he'd done, and one of them was, what if people don't or find out about my purple dye and find out what my real hair color is? That was like one of his anxieties, apparently. So he apparently dyes his hair purple intentionally so nobody will know what real color it is. And so that's particularly funny. So I was like, well, now I really have to dye it purple because it's funny.
Do it.
Add a whole level of it. So, anyway.
You can do the cheap way, purple shampoo, and then just let it sit there longer than it's supposed to, and then it starts going purple.
Oh, no. We've been using the dyes. They just come out after a while. This, I mean, there's still a little bit, just a hair of blue left, but not a lot. Yeah. But I mean, we went blue and it looked cool.
Yeah,
but
I saw it. I was like, that's awesome.
For blue, I felt like that was like still a little too teal. You know what I mean? I wanted to go like a sharper blue.
It was very it was very vibrant, like almost like
it was very vibrant. Yeah.
Yeah, it was very vibrant. I was like, that's a blue.
Yeah, that's me. You know, I mean, like my shoes are nuclear red, and now I'm hunting for new shoes because my shoes are torn up. So I'm looking now for a bright blue shoe, which I think will be cool. So that would be neat. Anyway, thank you for joining me. I will talk to you later.
I'll see you and Brent later.
Yeah. Bye-bye.